What's good people? Welcome to another edition of Field Vision, brought to you by War Room Sports in conjunction with Sports Kings. I'm one of your hosts, Devin McMillan, and I'm here at the round table with all my brothers this evening. We got Justin Arbogast from Sports Kings.
Back at it.
We got Jimmy Williams, War Room Sports.
Hey, plus size ladies, don't talk, just listen.
We got B. Austin, War Room Sports.
Yeah, boy. Hi, Rihanna.
We got a special guest with us tonight, our draft expert from Brandon on Sports and Sports Trap Radio. We got Brandon Pemberton. What's going on,
Good?
B?
What's good? Thanks for having me.
No doubt, all the time, especially when, draft time is nobody else to call, man. Some other guys, man, McShay, nah. All right, so look, of course, you know, the NFL draft is going down. So we're basically going to go over our top 10 picks from mock draft. First of all, we want to give a shout out to WalterFootball.com because we're going to be using their mock draft in this session. And we're also going to be using the mock draft from Brandon and Justin at the same time. So we're going to go top 10 picks. Let's get right into it, fellas. The Kansas City Chiefs will be on the clock first. WalterFootball.com has them taking Luke Joeckel, offensive tackle, Texas A&M. What say you, B?
Me?
Which B, brother?
My bad, B. Pemberton. We got two Broncos fans.
I base these picks upon who I would actually pick. I would take Eric Fisher as the first pick in the draft. I had him rated over Joeckel as far as the tackle position. Better blocker as far as a run blocker, more nastier, better base, stronger overall, player as far as a combination of pass blocking and run blocking. He's just a nastier, meaner guy. I just think he's slightly better. Not saying Joeckel isn't good, but I gave Fisher a slight edge over Joeckel.
You went pretty deep into him as a technician. The challenge that I see there, just real quick, is the conference he plays in and the fact that he's coming from Central Michigan. Now, I know that doesn't weigh as big with the fat guys. Shout out to y'all because y'all the most important people on the football field. But him playing in that conference and the size of his school is going to affect that, I believe.
I just want to say real quick that I think he may be a better run blocker. And the reason I think Joeckel may be the pick is because I think he may be a better pass blocker.
Right.
And the first thing I thought of is Andy Reid.
We know
Andy Reid in terms of him running the ball. So, that's something to think about. I think Joeckel could be a long-term fix for them in terms of the left tackle. And, so I kind of agree with that pick. But Brandon, I do see what you're saying because he's nasty with the run block. But I wonder how high, Andy Reid holds that in regard in terms of the system that he's running.
Andy Reid is lobbying for runs to be taken out of the game.
Justin, who'd you have at that spot?
I got Eric Fisher as well.
Okay.
Not by much, but just by a tiny bit. I just think, like he said, he's nastier. And I think that even with Alex Smith, I know Andy Reid has a history of throwing the ball. I'm sure he's going to do that. But they still got Jamal Charles and still didn't want to focus on him.
They also had LaShawn McCoy. That didn't stop him from passing everything down either.
No, but so I guess we all agree though, even whichever one of these guys they take, that's the need of the Kansas City Chiefs right now.
Absolutely.
They got their quarterback. I don't know how long term Alex Smith is in the plans, but they got their quarterback. Considering what's in this draft, you don't want to waste the first pick on a quarterback. So why not get a big brute up front? How long to build around?
Dev, how long term was Donovan McNabb? Eric Fisher, let me give you the numbers. His 40-yard dash was a 5.05. Impressive for a big man. He's 6'8", 305 pounds. Benched 225 27 times. Got up in the air 28.5 inches. Three-cone drill 7.59. You guys touched on the positives. Shows good discipline in his run blocking, active feet and hands. Nasty guy,
Yeah.
All right, well, we're gonna move on to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I I guess I'll be representing the WalterFootball.com, so I don't have to keep saying that every time. So on my sheet here, we're going Deion Jordan, outside linebacker from Oregon.
Freak.
B. Pemberton, what you got on number 2?
I definitely wouldn't have Deion Jordan, let alone 2, let alone in the top 10. I gave them. The Jaguars have a lot of issues in a lot of different places. Them and the Raiders got the worst roster. You know what I mean? The worst two rosters in all the NFL. So I gave them the best player at a position that they need. I gave them Luke Jokel, the left tackle from Texas A&M.
You know, Justin's he's the Raiders fan in the house tonight.
he knows they stink though.
He knows what's up.
Who do you have in this number 2 spot for the Jacksonville Jags?
For this one, this mock draft that I'm using is kind of done by 32 different fans. Shout out to the serious football heads. They get their whole team together. Anyway, we do a big mock draft every year. So the Jaguars fan, for them, he actually picked D. Milner. I was kind of shocked by it at first. So I'm going to go with D. Milner too, but he brought up a good point. For the last 3 or 4 years, that team has given up so many touchdowns through the air. They've never had a shutdown corner, not even the guy that they consider a decent corner, let alone an elite corner. For the last couple of years, they haven't even really had a guy that's needed or would be a starter on 31 other rosters. So he went with Milner. I'm good with that pick there too.
Hey, let me ask you a question though. And that's a good pick. I have Milner in my top 10. But let me ask you a question. In B, Pemberton, if Fisher goes first, you have Jokel going second. But I guess whoever goes first, the other one will go second. In your opinion, in terms of the tackles, they'll flip flop.
I mean, in my opinion, if I'm the Jags, yes, they do. The Jags,
they need everything.
They need everything. I mean, they need a lot of different things. They need somebody to get to the quarterback as well. Yeah. But no defensive end or pass rusher at 2, in my opinion, is worth the pick. Like, I seen some mock drafts where they was going to take Ziggy Ansah, which I think would be a huge mistake as well.
Okay.
At 2. So, you know what I mean? At this point, you know you need a lot of different things. You take the best player that's there.
Okay.
Yeah. I agree with that. And I definitely, me personally, I build from the inside out. So, you know, automatically that nixes a D. Milner pick. But he was a very highly rated corner. Tall guy, great with press. Projected as a great press corner on the outside. 6'1", 198 pounds. Ran a 4.37, 36-inch vertical. 122-inch broad jump, was blazing in a 20-yard shuttle, 4.32. Holds his own in press coverage. Doesn't have great ball skills, but he's not what I like to call a looky-loo. So he's not looking to jump routes. He's looking to make the short bet play, which is the tackle first or the bat down in the breakup. So you're getting a pretty mature and disciplined player who's also willing against the run, seals the edge, and looks to make contact, so he's not afraid to come up and hit. And at 4.37, he's got more than adequate speed for the NFL level.
B. Austin, what do you have on Jokel, just in case, Jokel is the pick?
Sure. Absolutely. Jokel is the top-ranked or top-rated offensive tackle out of Texas A&M. 6'6", 310 pounds, ran a 5.3 40, benched 225 27 times, 28.5-inch vertical. Broad jump was 106. Whoa, pause that. Shout out to Out Sports. Good, but not great in run blocking. Good fundamentals, good technique, natural knee bend. Not really that strong. Below average hand positioning, but is a good athlete. Still has some room to add weight. So you'll probably see him play at the NFL level closer to 320, 325 as opposed to the 310 he played in college.
Okay. So it's like Jamarcus's weight. All right.
Yeah, he's gonna be.
Let's go to number 3. We got Justin's Raiders on the clock here.
Yeah.
So after I give you this mock pick, I'll go to you first this time, Justin. We got the Raiders taking Sharif Floyd, defensive tackle from Florida. Who do you have? And, as a fan, which of these guys would you rather see them take?
Oh, I'm going to get called a homer like I always do. One, because it's a Raiders pick. Two, because he's a Ute. Sharif Floyd, he is good. He is impressive, but he is a workout warrior. Prior to these mock drafts, a lot of people didn't know who he was unless you actually watched Florida. He did good at the combine. He did good in his underwear, but I've watched Starlo play late. That's my pick here. Starlo play late.
From Utah?
Yeah.
Okay, the defensive tackle.
Yeah, and Muscle Hamster put up 239 on us the day that Richard Seymour went out. And he's a defensive tackle, put him from the line. That's who I take.
Okay. Hey,
So
Dev, I just want to say something.
you would take Star from Utah?
Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to say something real fast.
Sure.
Pemberton was absolutely right, yo. And I'm looking at this this board, and I'm looking at Jacksonville and the Raiders. Like, their roster is so bad. They're the most difficult. They're the most difficult team to try to figure out where they're going because they literally can go anywhere.
Yeah, I mean it's a situation where they got to go best player available because they need somebody everywhere.
Next year, it's harder because we only got 17 guys under contract for 2014.
I mean, they're kind of lucky. They're kind of lucky that best player available isn't like a wide receiver.
Go ahead. My fault.
Al Davis is still alive because he'd take him in a heartbeat. Yeah.
Al is drafting based on your 40 time and your 40 time alone. Unless you can present another foot race with a better time other than your 40. So if you have a fast 100, he'll supplant that.
So Brandon, what direction you got the Raiders going in?
In my opinion, I would draft Sheldon Richardson, defense tackle from Missouri. On my board, he's the best defensive tackle. I know a lot of people had Star. Some people had Sharif Floyd. Shout out to Sharif as well. He from Philly, went to Washington High School. Okay. But in my opinion, Sheldon Richardson is the most explosive defensive tackle, the most athletic, the one that on film is constantly in the backfield making plays, using quickness, strength, leverage, and everything. 6'3", almost 300 pounds. He came to the SEC his first year and took on the best lineman in the country and made plays week after week. The Missouri-Alabama game, Missouri got their ass kicked, but he never gave up. Not one play. He made like 10 or 12 tackles in the game. He was chasing Eddie Lacy and wide receivers down the field.
Yeah,
I mean he's a special player. Special
player.
Yeah.
You know what though?
Point. Oh, go ahead.
Austin. No, the only thing I want to say is the one thing that jumps out of off the screen when you watch Sheldon play is his motor. Like he is relentless and doesn't stop. Like you said, he'll chase down a wide receiver. This guy is just absolutely relentless.
Yeah.
And you can't teach that.
The numbers support his athleticism. He's got tremendous straight line quickness. He's one of those dudes where he probably played other positions before settling in at D tackle, just because of the explosiveness. Ran close to a 5 flat 40, bench 225 30 times, and had a vertical jump of 32 inches. Now to put that in perspective, for a 295-pound man, Dwayne Wade's vertical jump is 36. So this guy's 300 pounds jumping 32 inches off the ground. He's not a pure pass rusher, but he's so powerful and quick that he's going to end up in the backfield on a lot of plays, and definitely has the strength and athleticism to break off of blocks and make plays in the run game. So definitely an athlete.
Okay.
All right. Cool. Well, all right, well, we're going to move on to the number 4 pick in the draft. Before we do that, matter of fact, shout out to Boston. Shout out to Beantown. Forgot to do that at the beginning, but it's time to talk about the hometown for most of us. At number 4, the Philadelphia Eagles will be picking if, they don't end up trading the pick. Here we got the Eagles taking Eric Fisher, offensive tackle from Central Michigan. Brandon, where do you have the Eagles going? Chip Kelly's first ever NFL draft.
Well, Fisher's off the board, Jokel's off the board, Richardson's off the board. I had him taking my best player in the draft, overall Chance Warmack, guard from Alabama. Okay. Best player on the board, the Eagles have a need inside at guard. Danny Watkins can't play. I mean, let's just flat out be honest. You know what I mean? He can't play. So you got Harriman's playing right tackle. Peter's supposedly coming back, supposed to be healthy at left tackle. Evan Mathis had a decent 2-year span at left guard. Hopefully Kelsey is 100% and back. And Warmack, you plug him right in the right guard, and you got a Pro Bowler from day one.
Wow.
See, now this is like my opinion on that, because a lot of people are trying to get the Eagles to go for more glamorous picks. I definitely agree that they should take somebody up front, because even though a lot of their big guns up front are coming back off of injury this year, you saw what happened last year when people were down. You need that depth. You know what I'm saying? So, you need to take somebody, whether they're going to be immediate impact or not. This is the highest pick they've had in a long time. They really can't blow this. Justin, who do you have the Philadelphia Eagles taking it for?
Got Deion Jordan.
Deion
He's a pass rush. I know it's not the sexiest pick for the Eagles anyway. Some people might like it, but this is, like I said, these picks are all by diehard fans.
Well, it kind of makes sense since they're supposedly changing to the 3-4 defense.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. But you made some astute observations, Devin, and let me just ask you, what effect do you feel drafting an offensive lineman will have on Michael Vick's ability to read defense?
What? He's trying to set you up for some big
right,
slander. That's all that was.
That's all that was. Slander the dude, man.
That's all that was.
Okay, never mind. We can move on. Deion Jordan, 6'7", 243-pound, supreme athlete. He is a freak, and I mean that in a positive way. Ran a 4.59 40-yard dash, 32.5-inch vertical, 122-inch broad jump, 3-cone drill, and 7.02 short shuttle and 4.35. We've all heard about the dude. He's raw, he's long, he's lean, hauls all of that I just said. Projects as a starter from day one in the 3-4 set. The thing that stands out on film about the dude is, while technique is not necessarily there yet, he's not only good at getting to the quarterback off of the edge, the dude is great in space, moving his hips and flipping his hips in coverage. This guy reminds you a lot of DeMarcus Ware and his ability, and even Clay Matthews, to not only get to the the passer, but to also peel off against your faster, more agile backs. I'm a fan. Jason Pierre-Paul, probably won't have his hand in the dirt as much as Jason Pierre-Paul, but he's an athlete in that league.
Gotcha.
Did I get all the picks on that one?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the only thing I want to say is, if in my mock draft, I have the first 10 picks all offensive tackles, defensive tackles, and guards. Because I honestly believe, listen, man, fat boys win football.
Yo, shout out to fat people everywhere. If there's one thing that we run, is football.
I have no quarterbacks, no receivers, no running backs, no linebackers, just the trenches. That's all. So, in my opinion,
Bill Belichick doesn't draft skill position players above the end of the second round.
I'm just saying, in my opinion, I think the Eagles should take whoever is the best available at that. Because, it all depends upon how everything falls with, Joko and those guys to see what the Eagles take. But they definitely do need a pass rush as well. So I can see that, but
Deion Jordan shouldn't sniff the top 10. I mean, honestly.
Why?
It's been nothing but a hype machine with this guy. I mean, they talk about, he projects to be a pass rusher. Where on film did he get to the quarterback? I mean, I watched every play that he played in every game. I think he had 4 or 5 sacks.
Yeah, he had 4 or 5. He had
4 or 5 sacks.
But that was also a function of
pass coverage.
Their set. That was a function of the way their defense ran as well, though.
Yeah, I mean, they dropped him in coverage and he looked athletic in space, but don't sit and tell me that he DeMarcus Ware when DeMarcus Ware had 20 sacks as a senior.
Sheesh.
Yeah, that's true. Hand in the dirt. No,
they knew. Drafting on potential will get you fired.
Absolutely.
especially in the NFL. Yeah, this is not the NBA. So, all right. So let's go on to pick number 5. On the clock at number 5, the Detroit Lions. They've made some additions to their team, notably Reggie Bush. That should help Stafford look somewhere else in the offense for a change.
No,
But I have them taking Lane Johnson, offensive tackle from Oklahoma. Brandon, where you got the Lions going?
Now, if Johnson's on the board, I could see them taking him because Jeff Backus just retired. And Backus was like a 12, 13-year player at tackle for them. But me personally, defense is an issue with them, especially on the back end. I had them taking D. Milner. They need some corners that can play. Their corners were flat out horrible last year.
Yeah, their corners are ass cheeks.
Yeah, I mean, D. Milner at 5, to me, is the best pick for them. They need a corner that can play. Now, with some other corners that you can get, later in the teens and the 20s that can play, and at the top of the second round. But in my opinion, you take the best guy that's there.
Okay.
Okay, Justin, who you got going to the Lions at 5?
On this board, Luke Jockle's still there, so they're going to jump all over him.
Okay.
You think they'll drop all the way down there?
It's only number 5.
I mean, still, he's projected to be the number 1 pick, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Lane Johnson is a hell of an athlete. He was a high school quarterback.
He was a high school quarterback.
Yeah, Lane Johnson, the tackle. He was a quarterback who transitioned to tight end and then to D end before finally settling in at tackle. So he has an athletic background. Ran a 4.72 at 303 pounds.
Wow.
And had
Tebow going to play tackle next year.
Yeah, he's an athlete. He's an athlete, and also his understanding of the other positions on the field kind of helps him, especially when he's pulled in space.
Yeah, he definitely. Watching him, progress playing the position came a long way quickly. You know what I mean? And this a pick. He's solid now. He's still learning the position, and his footwork is so good because he was a quarterback at one time and he was a tight end. Like you said, running a 4.72 at 303 pounds. Imagine when he ran when he was 270 or 275. The guy's an athlete. Was coached well and came a long way this year. And like a guy like him, you can see the potential as far as going to the next level. The sky could be the limit for this kid. I read one scout came out, and there's always scouts that had I guess some personal vendetta. Scouts said he was a complete fraud and this and that or whatever. I don't know what the guy was looking at, but the 10, 12 games that I watched of him, it was some pretty damn good tape playing right tackle and left tackle.
Nice.
Versatility.
All right. We're going to take our talents up to Cleveland. Number 6, the Cleveland Browns. Over here on my sheet, I have, this is the D. Milner pick, cornerback out of Bama. That would be interesting. They have Joe Hayden. This is the get Sheldon Brown out of here pick right here if it happens. But I guess I think on everybody else's board, D. Milner's already gone. So I'll go to you, Justin. Who do you have on your sheet for the Cleveland Browns?
Got Jarvis Jones here, adding to that very underrated defense.
Okay.
Yeah, Cleveland did have a pretty good defense. They were in a lot of games that they played in last season.
All they had was a defense.
Brandon, where you got the Browns going at 6?
Offensive line, they got a running back. I'd be surprised at what they could do with the quarterback.
Mr. Granite.
Exactly.
Me,
Jason Campbell.
I like Jarvis Jones a lot. If there wasn't a red flag or health concern with Jarvis Jones to me would be one of the top 3 picks in this draft. By film. But I gave them Kiki Mango from LSU. The Browns is switching from a 4-3 back to a 3-4, which they ran 2 years ago. They're gonna need some outside linebackers that can rush and get back in coverage. And this year, at times, LSU ran a hybrid set. Sometimes they would with an even man front. sometimes they went to the odd man front. And they had Sam Montgomery and Mingo playing those outside linebacker spots.
Jimmy, what do you think the Cardinals need? You know, they were a team who came out of the gates pretty fast last year, and then, like the Root said, you know, things fall apart.
Yeah. Hey man, listen, the Cardinals have a couple needs, yo, and in terms of where they're going to go, that's difficult to say. I don't think that, you know, they're secure in the quarterback position. But here's my problem: this draft. Who do you take, you know, that high? You know what I mean? Like, so. I mean, that's difficult to say. Let me look at my notes right here. Who I had the Cardinals taking. I had the Cardinals actually. I'm sorry. I had them going D tackle, but again, I'm biased. All D tackles, O tackles, and guards.
I was going to touch on Star.
I haven't taken Star as well. You know, I know Justin. You know, pushed him at number one because he comes from Utah. So Justin made him the first pick of the draft, but I have Star. I have Star going here to the Cardinals.
You know, Star. It was revealed at the NFL Combine that he has a heart condition, which kept him from working out, and they're going to look at doing some more testing. It could be a big blow to his draft value. So we're all putting him in the top 10 when he can end up.
Let me fill you in on that. I cover the youth here. That was a severe sickness that he had the week that he was at the Combine. He's passed all the testing. That was a hydration issue. He did lose 13 pounds that week as well.
So it was.
He said he lost 13 pounds that week.
Yeah,
because he weighed in at 311, and he usually plays about 325.
Yeah.
So he's put that back on, but that was a severe sickness that kept him out. He did do well at the pro day. But that heart condition is bad. So there's that.
Brandon, where you got the Cardinals going at 7?
I'm on my board. Lane Johnson was still on the board, so I had them taking Lane Johnson. Obvious problems that they haven't addressed in the past 2 drafts with the offensive line. So I gave them Lane Johnson. You know what I mean? Hopefully he can help Carson Palmer out. Because as we all know, you know what I mean, you brush Carson Palmer's shoulder, he's throwing the ball to the opposite team. You know what I mean?
Which is why their quarterback situation to me is still up in the air. Like, I know they got Carson Palmer, but you guys know how I feel about Carson Palmer.
You know what I mean? I think he's decent.
You know how I feel about Carson Palmer.
I think he's decent. He was on his way before he got hurt. But since he's gotten hurt, he's never recovered. Right. It's sort of like when Culpepper tore his knee up. And Culpepper came back and never was the same. It's the same thing with Carson Palmer. Before he got hurt, matter of fact, that year that they went in the playoffs and he got hurt on that play, they was the hottest team in the league. Like they was on their way to go to the Super Bowl.
That day. He definitely was hot up until
still
then.
A quitter though. I still think he quits on his team, but that's a whole other story. We can do a whole video of me dissing Carson Palmer, but
we have already.
We have that video.
My fault.
I said we've done that.
I don't know if he done it.
Yeah, let's move on to the Buffalo Bills at number 8 on my sheet here. We have them taking Ryan Nassib, quarterback, Syracuse. This is the highest quarterback. This is the first quarterback taken in any of these mocks so far. I see Brandon shaking his head.
I'm shaking my head too, yo.
What's your opinion, first of all, of the pick in that mock, and then who do you have on your board?
I like Nassib. I just don't like him at 8. You know what I mean? That's the whole thing. You draft Nassib. If you trade back in at third and get him at the end of the first, or you draft him in the 30s in the second round, all right, that's cool. But you going to have the audacity to draft him at 8?
Yeah, that's malarkey.
I mean, that's like the Chiefs drafting Ty Blackledge instead of Dan Marino. I mean, you just don't do it. He's not the 8th best player in this draft, let alone one of the top 20 players. He's not one of the top 30 players.
Yeah, he's somewhere around 50.
I think whoever's, has the Bills taking a quarterback in their mocks are basically playing on the Bills' desperation at that position at this point.
And besides the fact, all right, yeah, I know Doug Marrone recruited him and coached him for 4 years. But I mean, this ain't.
It would
college.
be a homer pick. Definitely be a homer pick.
This isn't college football. I mean, this pick alone, you draft Nassib and you miss on this pick, 3-4 years from now, Marrone and the general manager is going to be out on their ass.
Mm-hmm.
What I did.
Now, about to say, who you got at that?
I had them picking Bjorn Warner from Florida State. They in need of a pass rusher opposite of Mario Williams. They play a 4-3 defense. Warner can play either side, left or right end. Kid from Germany, started playing football at 15, and he's picked up the game at a fast pace. His sophomore and junior years at Florida State, he had 24 sacks. And he's not only a pass rusher, but at 6'3", 266, he's stout at the run as well. Great hand play, good leverage, and he's one of those guys that's just a naturally strong dude, and he plays with. I know they always say, I just say that he play hard every play. I don't go with the whole motor thing, but he plays hard every down.
Ooh, Justin, who you going with on the board that you have? The Bills at number 8.
Bart Mingo going out to him. As far as the Walter pick, I don't like it there. I like Nassib, like Brandon said, but not an 8. I don't think there's a quarterback that should be worthy of even a top 20 pick in this draft. He might be the best quarterback, maybe Geno Smith, between them two, 1 and 2, but even then, I don't like those guys even in the top 20. So I just got him adding more to that defensive linebacker position, taking Barkevius Mingo.
Yeah.
You guys don't like Matt Barkley in the top 10? He's from USC. Come on, guys.
Matt Barkley should have come out last year. He played us, huh? He may have been the third quarterback.
Not to stay in school. Trying to tell young men they should never stay in school, man. Look at you, man.
He is terrible as an athlete.
Go after your sports money. It's like, nah, don't listen to me, kids. Number 9, the New York Jets. On this board, they have him taking Bart Mingo, defensive end / outside linebacker from LSU. We know they just traded Revis Allen to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for the 13th overall pick, so they'll actually be picking twice in the top 13 picks. Brandon, where you got the Jets going on this first pick, on this number 9 pick?
Before the other guys on my board, this is why I had Jarvis Jones fitting in, and this has been a position that the Jets have been lacking over the last couple years. The defense has been sound, stout, good in the back end, but they've lacked the ability to get to the quarterback. And Jarvis Jones is barring any injury or red flags as far as injury-wise, he's the best natural pass rusher in this draft. The guy had 30 sacks in 2 years in the SEC against the best players in the country. Got it done every week. Forget what the workout looked like. Forget about a 40 time. Watch him rush around the edge. Watch him at 245 bull rush a 320-pound man and put him on the ground. You know what I mean? Watch him rip and swim and get around the edge and force a fumble. He's just a playmaker, a natural rusher, and he's the best 3-4 outside linebacker, in my opinion, in this draft.
I agree, but I also think he's going to need to bulk up. He's going to need to play at 255 as opposed to 240. He's going to need to put on 15.
How will that affect his speed, though? I agree with Brandon in terms of their need. Mm-hmm. You know, I totally agree in terms of need.
Oh yeah, I agree with the need. And I think that he is a terrific athlete. At 6'3", I don't think 15 pounds will hurt him. Mm-hmm. I think it will only help. I think he can play at 6'3", 255 versus 6'3" and 240. I know that playing at 240 is going to hinder him with what he's asked to do, though, in the NFL.
All right, Justin, who you got on the Sirius board?
They took Ziggy Ansah. I normally wouldn't agree with it, but for the Jets, I would. This dude is a physical freak. Again, he's just right down the street, so I have plenty to watch him this year. The thing is he's only played 9 football games in his entire life. And he gets it. He went to BYU to run track. He walked on the football field. They said, hey, we might give you a shot. He played in 9 football games his entire life. He didn't even know what it was. I mean, he's from Ghana.
Jimmy, my man was a 6'6", 230-pound sprinter. He's actually from Ghana. Shout out to my wife and shout out of Ghana.
He is so raw, though.
I'm scared to say anything because he is so raw. I can't. Brandon, what do you think?
You can't endorse that.
Yeah, I can't.
Risk reward.
I mean, Ziggy Ansah could be. He's one of the guys. I put him in the same boat with Cordarrelle Patterson, the wide receiver from Tennessee. Two guys who can be boom or bust.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Obviously, great physical tool, 6'5", 271. You know what I mean? He looks the part. But like you said, 9 games of football in your life, you know what I mean? It's certain stuff that you just naturally are able.
He's never seen. It's stuff he still has never seen.
Yeah, like it's certain things when you play football, you start at 6 or 7 that you just naturally know how to do. Like it's just natural football instincts. And sometimes when you watch him on film, he looks a little robotic because it's like instead of just reacting to what he's saying, he's thinking about it.
He's thinking, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a different case. It's a different case from Pierre Paul because Pierre Paul had more experience playing football than Ansah did. You know what I mean? They trying to compare him to Pierre Paul. It might be some sort of athletic comparison, but as far as actual play and performance, like I mean, he played for BYU and like on film, he didn't stand out while he was out there. Now when he got to the Senior Bowl, it looked like he had gotten better from the regular football season up until that point.
Now, let me ask you a question because I see like it's a risk reward thing with this pick. Could you imagine if they got it wrong? The Jets, the New York Jets.
Yeah.
Could you imagine that disaster that would be?
They can't draft this dude, man. They can't. They cannot afford.
Yeah, I see Justin laughing. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Like
they cannot afford. My man was handing off a baton 24 months ago.
Yo,
I think the Jets can mess up. They stay in the news by messing up. Jets like being in the news. It'll be all right.
All right, man. Let's get to this last.
Let's go to our last pick of our top 10. Tennessee Titans. On my sheet, they have them taking Jonathan Cooper, guard from UNC. Brandon, who you have Tennessee going for at the number 10 spot?
I like Cooper, and I like Cooper a lot, but I had him taking Star Latulele at that position. Their defense was solid last year, but was kind of weak up the middle. He instantly gives them an upgrade at the defensive tackle position. He's better than Marks. He's better than Casey, whoever else they have there. Scheme diverse. Can play nose tackle. Could play 3 technique in a 4-3. And if it was a 3-4 team, he could play the 5 technique. Not much of a pass rusher, but he's a typical, Samoan American guy.
Space eater.
You know what I mean?
He's a space eater.
Yeah, thick build, like just naturally strong. You know what I mean? Those guys, before majority of them guys don't even lift a weight before they get to college, and they just come there and just throw it up. You know what I mean? Yeah. So he's naturally strong, stout, plays with good leverage, and he instantly gives them an upgrade in the middle. I mean, their middle linebacker is going to be happy to have a guy like him playing in front of them.
All right, Justin, who you got?
This is the one that made me shake my head. They took Geno Smith for the Titans.
As long as they didn't take him for the Eagles. Titans
so that one I don't agree with. If it was my mock draft, I would have Xavier Rhodes. Xavier Rhodes shot up my board real quick. He's a tough physical corner. He'll get out there. He'll play like Cortland Finnegan did. Titans defense was not the same after they lost Cortland Finnegan. They needed a dude back there. Physical, nasty, and plays the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Xavier Rhodes is a special athlete, especially at that size, 6'2", 217, 220, 4'4", 40, 40-inch vertical, 132-inch broad jump. He's gonna get up there and lay hands on you, and I don't mean to baptize you. So,
yeah, I mean, he came to Florida State as a 5-star wide receiver.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean, they asked him to move to cornerback, which he obviously played, in high school as well. And, I mean, he's flourished during his time there playing corner. He's versatile. He can play press man. You can put him in in the cover 2. You can put him in the cover 3. And like Justin said, he's willing to come up and tackle and hit. And he's another guy, you know, that's down the road, you know, 9th, 10th year that you can go ahead and slide to safety and he can play another 3 or 4 years.
Now that's what I see. I definitely see that. I definitely see him. He may even slide to safety sooner than that.
Yeah, sort of like what happened with Malcolm Jenkins.
Yeah, he's not really a pure ball hawk. He's a hell of an athlete to be able to make the transition, but as corners go, he's a middle of the road athlete. So he's gonna require winning the battle in the first 5 yards. So it's all about him putting hands. I don't know whether he played enough zone at Florida State to know whether he can play in a 2-set or
he played more than 9 games.
Yeah, true.
All right. Well, that's our top 10 mock draft. Justin, thanks for representing the people with your mock draft. Of course, we had the mock of Brandon on Sports, and shout out to WalterFootball.com because we used theirs in one of them as well. Before we go, Brandon, make sure you let the people know how they can find you and everything that you're doing.
You can find me on Twitter at Brandon on Sports. You also can listen to my show, Sports Trap Radio, hosted by myself and Daniel Treywick at www.ueradiolive.com or www.livestream.com/ueradiolive Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m.
And that's Eastern time, everybody.
Eastern Standard Time.
Justin, tell everybody real quick how they can get in touch with the Sports Kings.
SportsKings.com. It's actually sports-kings.com. Don't forget the dash. I don't know why we put it there because it's more of a pain in my ass than anything else. SportsKings.com. You can follow us on Twitter at RealSportsKings, and if you want to get a hold of me, at NFL_SK.
Hey, that's true, Justin, because after we met the guys, we met everybody up in Toronto, every time I went to a computer, I kept putting in sportskings.com. Like, what the hell? Like, I can't find them. But Jimmy, let everybody know.
You can find us online everywhere, War Room Sports, warroomsports.com, at War Room Sports. We're on Instagram. And as always, if you're really looking for us, just check your mom's bedroom. One of us might be in your mother's bedroom.
True. That's a very good point. The incomparable, indestructible War Room Sports.
So like I said, that's been our top 10 mock draft for the 2013 NFL Draft. Make sure you catch our next podcast, warroomsports.com. Just click on that Listen Live button at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to have Brandon on our show like we always do on draft night. We're going to prepare you for the draft a little bit, and then we're actually going to cover the draft live from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you guys are there with us for that. This has been another episode of Field Vision. Make sure you're with us next week. Until then, don't accept mediocrity and be steadfast in the war against ignorance.
I see you chumps on top.
Have a good one.
It's the War Room with 5 nights at the round table, 5 Philly